This is lesson 5, cash flow, and it's the very last lesson in the money management unit. Throughout this unit, you have learned where you spend your money. You've learned how to create goals, how to decide on a good choice, and how to plan to best manage your money. Now it's time to put it all together. So once you've developed a spending plan, you're ready to put it into practice. No one else can do that for you. So of course, knowing what you should do doesn't mean that actually doing it is going to be easy. The good news is that we have tips and strategies to help you get rolling. The basics of maximizing your money, so getting the most out of your money, comes down to cash flow. And cash flow is the money that flows into your pockets as income and it flows out as expenses and debt, which you have to pay for. It doesn't matter who you are or how much money you have, maintaining a balanced cash flow is super important. So in this lesson, we're going to help you set up strategies to maintain a positive cash flow, making sure that everything is balanced and that you're not running out of money. So today, you're going to figure out how to maintain a positive cash flow. So again, in this lesson, you are going to set up strategies to help yourself maintain a positive cash flow. So along the way, you'll be identifying how to plug or how to stop any spending leaks that you find. You'll be able to list strategies to help you stick to a spending plan, and we will discuss ways to be prepared for unexpected money events. So once we've discussed all of this in the lesson, you will use what you've learned to develop strategies that help you control your spending. Before we get into much further into this lesson, I want you to pause this video and get two things. I want you to get 2 cups and I want you to fill one of them with water. So pause this video, get 2 cups and fill one of them with water. Now that you've gotten your 2 glasses of water, one that has water and one that is empty, I'm going to read you a lesson. And as I read the lesson, I want you to pour water from one glass into the other whenever the story involves income. So anytime that we're adding money to our balance, I want you to pour water from one glass into the other. And when my story involves spending money, I want you to pour water out of that glass back into the original glass. So it's possible that one of your glasses might be empty at one point, and that's okay. If something is empty, that's going to represent a 0 balance. So here we go. Let's read this story. Dear Blabby, wow, do I need your help. In May, I landed my dream summer job working as a caddy at the Rolling Hills Golf Course. Each week, I worked about 30 hours at $6 an hour. Earning an average of $180 a week was nice. So this person just made money. He made about $180 a week. So I want you to pour some water from your glass into the other cup. And as I continue reading, see if we need to add more water. Plus, I earned at least $50 each week in tips. It's now the end of August, and I don't know where my money went. So I want you to also add a little bit more water, maybe not as much as you just did, but a little bit more water to represent the tips that this guy earned. Right after I got the job, I repaid the $40 I owed my sister. Okay, so if we owe somebody something, that means we are losing money. So I want you to pour some money back, or pour some water back out of your cup. And I bought a few used video games. All right, pour some more water out of your cup. I was paid twice a month. So if you're paid twice a month, then you can add some water back into the cup. Each month, I used part of my first paycheck to pay my share of the family cell phone bill and my share of the car insurance. So that first paycheck, go ahead and pour some money or water back out of your cup. So we just lost some water. I also had to put gas in the car every other week so I could get to and from work. Again, pour more water back out of that cup. Although I used my employee discount, I guess it wasn't a good idea to buy lunch each workday at the golf clubhouse. All right, splash some water out. Take about 5 splashes of water out. In June, I bought concert tickets. Oh, pour some more water out. In July, I spent the day at the Six Flags amusement park with friends, and then I got a speeding ticket on the way home from the park. Okay, so we need to pour quite a bit of water out. Six Flags tickets are about $80. A speeding ticket, you're upwards of $200. Last month, I had to take off a full week of work to recover from getting my wisdom teeth pulled. Now, I just found out that I need to pay $500 for the senior class trip. Pour some more water out. It seems that my money has just disappeared. Can you give me advice to control my cash flow? So by now you may have seen that you've run out of water. There's no more water in your cup, and it's back in your original glass. And I know throughout that whole thing I said pour money out, but that's because really what that water represented is our cash flow. It's very fluid. It goes in and out of a glass very easily. I can pour some money in, and just as easily as I can pour some money in, I can pour money back out, or pour water back out of my glass. So you just saw water go up and down, water levels go up and down in a glass. And as that represents our cash flow, there may be times that you can think of when your own glass, your own cash flow is empty, or maybe it was overflowing. You had so much money you didn't know what to do with it. Well, even with careful planning, which is what we learned in our last lesson, we all encounter unexpected events that are going to impact our cash flow at very inconvenient times, just like this guy with his speeding ticket. That's a very inconvenient thing that he has to pay. So there are going to be times when you find that you have a windfall, which is not enough money, or maybe you even have extra money. So I hope you saw this story as an example of why cash flow and understanding how to limit our spending is important. So through this lesson, we are going to learn about tips for what you might do when your cash flow is overflowing, when you have a lot of money, as well as how you can reduce the risk of low or no money for your cash flow. Right now, I want you to open your student booklet up to pages 32 and 33. Go ahead and open your booklet up to page 32 and 33. If you haven't already, I would like for you to read the middle of page 32 and all of page 33. So there's a heading, it says Staying on Course. Go ahead and read the Staying on Course section of page 32 and all of 33. And while you do that, pause your video, please. Okay, now that you're done reading pages 32 and 33, I want to look at some ways that you can adjust your income or expenses so your spending plan more closely matches your actual spending and planning. So we're asking the question, is your plan working? The spending plan that you just created during the last lesson, does it really work? It's always great to have a plan, but can you carry out and can you follow the guidelines listed in your plan? Well, how do you know if your spending plan is actually working? The very first thing you can do is compare your actual income with your anticipated income. So let's look at those two words, actual and anticipated. What your actual income is what you get paid every single time you get a paycheck. So when I anticipate something, that is what I believe I will make. If we go back to the story about the guy who worked at the golf club, he anticipated that he would make about $180 a week, plus about $50 in tips. So that is his anticipated income. So $180 plus $50 is $230. So he anticipated that he was going to be making $230 each week. And he probably made very much close to that each week, except for this week down here. Last month I had to take off a full week of work to recover from getting my wisdom teeth pulled. Well, if you're anticipating to make $230 each week, but then you take off time from work, you're not actually making that money. So anticipated is what we believe we're going to make. Actual is what is written on your paycheck each time that you get a paycheck. So compare your actual income with your anticipated income. They should be pretty close together. For this dude, the golf caddy kid, losing $230 is a huge deal. That's a very large portion of his income. So his actual income and his anticipated probably don't match very much. So that's our first goal. Our first goal to see if our plan is working is to compare the actual income with our anticipated income. And then we're going to compare your actual spending with your planned spending. If you are planning in your budget to only spend $60 in gas and you're actually spending, $120, maybe because you took a really big road trip, there's going to be some holes in your plan. So if you find holes either within your income or within how much you're spending, we need to make adjustments. We cannot follow a plan if our money doesn't match what we said that we're going to spend and how much we're going to make. So here's a couple things that you can do. One of the very first options for you is to increase your income. So how do you increase your income? Well, most people right off the bat say, well, I could get a higher paying job, or I could work more hours at that job. You can also increase your income by getting another job, maybe a different job, not just using one job all the time. Okay, you could also decrease your expenses. That is another way to make adjustments so that what we're spending, so our cash flow matches our spending plan. So when we decrease our expenses, we're going to get closer to the mark of making sure that our expenses are still lower than our income. You could also do a combination of both. If you feel like you need more money, but you also need to spend a little bit less so that you can make ends meet, we can do a combination of both of these to make adjustments. Here are just a few ideas of how you could increase your income. So I love this title. It says, Get a Bigger Bucket. How do you get more money? Well, you can be crafty. If you can make things and sell them like bracelets, or if you take photographs, you can sell these items to different people. You can help your neighbors raking their lawn or shoveling their street in the wintertime. You can teach others. If you know something and you're good at maybe playing an instrument, or you are good at a subject in school, you can teach others or tutor students. You can be a tech troubleshooter. So you know that there are people in your life that are not as good at computers as you are. If you're really good at computers, then you could charge to make some more money and to help people with their technology problems. You can work for your parents, either cleaning up around the house or doing some odd jobs here and there for them. You could also start an internet business. This one I've seen a lot more young people start than I expected to. So a lot of the startup internet businesses that we see today are made by young people your age. I'm going to leave this video a little bit shorter than usual. What I would like for you to do is turn to page 34 in your student guide, and if you have not already, I'd like you to complete activity 1.9, my income options. So it says, what are 2 ways you can realistically bring in more cash? Think about the skills or talents you have that other people might need or want. So go ahead and complete activity 1.9, and we will pick up right there in the next section.